Hello, I'm Shukla Choudhury and welcome to my online class. Today we are going to discuss a very famous poem of English literature, and the name of the poem is The Dolphins. And the famous poet is the Scottish poet Carol and Duffy. Carol Ann Duffy is known for her feminist writings in which she deals with such pressing issues as gender discrimination, oppression, and violence. She has been honored and awarded by various literary associations, government, and non government bodies. The Dolphins by Duff is about the abuse of wildlife, exhibition of animals, and the enmity between man and nature. It is the monologue of a trapped dolphin kept in water park along with others of its ilk. It presents the viewpoint of this trapped, helpless mammal. The poem Dolphins covers many themes regarding oppression and lack of freedom. It also broaches ideas which have to do with animal welfare and treatment of animals. The poem takes us into the world of dolphins, an endangered species, and asks us to look at the world from their perspective. The poem Dolphin is actually in a monologue form, where the dolphin is personified, and as if the dolphin is telling its woes, its sad stories, while comparing his present life with the previous life. Now we all human beings, we all animals, all the living things of this earth are actually born free. Then comes the man, the symbol of power. And what happens to lesser creature, weaker creature, animals without having really language, the real language to speak? What happens to them? We see that through this beautiful and touching poem. As I told you, this poem is in a monologue form, and the dolphin here is personified, and he is telling his woe story, sad story, comparing his life when he was born free in the sea. His life was full of joy and pleasure. He was playing with his friends all the day and all the night. There was no limit to his joys and pleasures, and then he compares that life to his present life, which is a life of confinement in the pull, and this is a life of slavery. This life can be symbolic to the life of slavery, where you are always under someone else's control and instructions. So the dolphin now starts its sad story. The poet, through the feelings of dolphin, actually exaggerates and keeps on telling us the same theme, the same lines again and again. The motive behind is that we should feel. So we should feel the feelings when the dolphin says, like each and every animal, I also can't look at myself. In fact, we all are like that. We can't look at ourselves. We have to look at ourselves through a medium. So here the dolphin looks at the other friends, look at his other dolphins, look at his other friends, and he now knows that his friends are also feeling in the same way. That is the same monotonous and the sad feelings. And the dolphins look at the friends, and he is going through the same kind of sad feelings. He knows that his friends are also passing through the same kind of feelings, and then he looks at the man. Man here is the symbol of power, who is keeping trying to keep everything under his control for various reasons. He is cruel sometimes, he's full of dominance, and they all have to listen to this man. Then there is hoops. Hoops here means those things which the dolphins have to use while showing the games. We all see the dolphin games, right? But when we go to see the dolphin games, we are going there for our own entertainment. Even for a second, we don't think what's happening in the dolphin's mind. It's a mammal, it has a mind, it has a thinking capacity. But we don't think about their thinking capacity. We're always so busy thinking about our own feelings, and we are enjoying while the dolphin, he is going through these. Whenever he looks at those hoops, he feels like those animals in the circus who will have to perform those hoop stories, hoop shows, which again symbolizes the same old game, the same old monotonous life, because here they cannot play, they cannot game, or they cannot do what they want to. They have to follow that hoop and that same game which the instructor or the symbol of power, the man, wants him to perform. Next comes the feeling of guilt. Well, the feeling of guilt, it's a negative feeling, but it's there all over. Because even the man who is the symbol of power knows that what he is doing is wrong. Not perhaps wrong, it's actually wrong, but he's still doing that for various reasons. Basically, reason is the money, but then he is doing that. So he is perhaps having this feeling of guilty. And this feeling of guilt, it's everywhere. It surrounds, it emits from him and surrounds the person in power, and it is reflected through that person of power into the atmosphere. So there is this feeling of guilt which the dolphins also can understand, and so no one is very happy with this power of guilt. And then again the dolphin recalls those days where he was free in the sea without any limits. He remembers how the skin of his friends, they were emitting silvery light. They were so glossy, and when the sunlight fell on their skin, it looked silvery, but no more, because they are all now in a confined pool where the water is not frequently changed, where the water is very different from that of the ocean. So that silvery shine on the skin when the sunlight falls on them is no more there. That also proves another thing, that you can look rather very beautiful, very glossy only when you are feeling good inside, you are happy inside. But here the dolphins are not happy inside, so they do not feel that goodness, that feeling of happiness within them. Hence there is no shine on their skin even when the sunlight is reflected, which is to be there when they were in the sea. Now the element is same. Yes, the dolphin agrees that the element is same. Now what's element here? Element is the water. The dolphins were in water in earlier time also, when they were in the state of freedom. The dolphins are still in water. But what's the difference? Why can't they breathe properly? Why are not they happy? The difference is captivity. The difference is the lack of freedom. Freedom is so important. There is reference to the constant flowing of guilt occasionally. Here the constant flowing guilt refers to the necessity of creating an artificial habitat for the dolphins by constantly pumping water in the pool. The guilt refers to man's guilt of entrapping the dolphins in an artificial environment, emulating an ocean so many times. We can see that human beings, in spite of knowing that what they are doing is very cruel, very bad, they continue to do that, and though perhaps they have this feeling of guilt within them, but they continue to do that. However, the confined pool does not offer these dolphins any truth or reality. We have found no truth in these waters, no explanation tremble in our flesh. We were blessed and now we are not blessed. This artificially created lake lacks the expanse and environment of the natural sea. A dolphin gets information about its world through its skin that reacts to minute changes in its environment. But now, no explanations tremble on its skin that might make sense of its new world. In the limits of the pool, it finds nothing new but the same monotonous space always. The dolphin has taken days to translate the truth of its new environment because it was so used to the expanse of free ocean where it lived before it was captured by man. Besides, the dolphins' confinement, their activities are also controlled by a man who makes them perform various tricks by jumping through hoops and after a colored ball. These are all signs of power and a monotonous life. And now, we are no longer blessed, for the world will not deepen too deep in. The other knows, and out of love reflects me for myself. The collective voice indicated by the use of we makes it clear that the speaker dolphin is a representative figure. It indicates a search for the truth. The dolphin knows that they are no longer blessed as they were in their natural habitat. It is conscious of the fact that the other dolphin in the pool shares its experience and its feelings. There is mutual understanding between them. This fact is suggestive of sense of respect for independence on the part of the dolphins. The dolphin speaker is able to maintain its integrity. The sense of loss of former freedom brought home clearly. We see our silver skin flashed by like memory of somewhere else. The memory of the former times when they were in the sea is important. The concluding stanza of this poem is full of pathos and sense of doom. The moon has disappeared. We circle well-groven grooves of water in a single note, music of loss, forever. From the other's heart, which turns my own to stone. This stanza presents a bleak and hopeless future for the dolphins. The dolphins live in a confined world where the moon seems to have disappeared. The moon, the natural regulator of tides and indirectly the lives of dolphins, has been replaced by an unnatural man made of object, that is, colored ball. Thus the dolphin says, "There's a plastic toy, there is no hope. We sink to the limits of this pool until the whistle blows. There's a man, and our mind knows we will die here." The dolphin once again refers to the monotony of its existence. It is suggested by a single note of music that is played regularly. This single note refers to the whistle blowing by the man, listening to which the dolphins perform their aerobatics of jumping through hoops or balancing a colored ball. The mournful voice of the dolphin's companion, caused by the loss of freedom and joy, turns the dolphin's heart to stone. It shows that the dolphin has sympathy for his own species, but human beings doesn't. So, my dear listeners, this is a poem of hopelessness, a poem of very sad feelings. The words matches with it beautifully. When the dolphin says, "This limit to the pull," yes, there's limit to the pull because it's a captive life. It's a life of captivity. There was no limit when they were in the sea because the sea was abound, the water was abound. There was no limits to the water, but in the pool, there's limit. There's limit to each and everything that they have to do, and they know that they do not have any escape from this life. They will have to die one day in the limits of this pool. This is the theme of this beautiful poem. The poet wants us to realize how it feels for that person who is in captivity and entertaining you. Okay, you feel very good because you are there for your entertainment. But those people who are entertaining you, they are in captivity. That's the theme. Slavery, the captivity, the autocratic feeling of the powerful one over the powerless one. That's why the full poem, if you see, observe very minutely, it keeps on telling one thing in a different manner because the poet wants us to realize that we, the human beings, God has made us very powerful, but then it's our duty to see that everyone in this world lives happily. We should not take undue advantage of our power and keep others in hapless conditions. We are human beings, so let us be human and try to do something good for this world where God sent us. Amen.